Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from TVDetectiveFan. And in response to an earlier video where I was wearing this brooch, TVDetectiveFan remarked that he liked the symbol on my lapel, and could I speak to the subject of Yin and Yang, which is what this symbol represents. And indeed I can, though I would be surprised if anyone watching this vlog is not already at least somewhat familiar with the idea of yin and yang. Yin and yang, in these terms, is an idea that comes out of traditional Chinese philosophical thought, particularly Taoism, but it's not limited to Taoism. And it represents the idea that the universe can be described in the interaction of two primary forces, yin and yang. Yin being the inward-turning passive energy, yang being the outward-turning active energy. Yin comes in, yang goes out in an eternal cycle, which you see portrayed by the black and white portions of the Taijitu, which are revolving in an eternal clockwise fashion. In addition, you will see that each contains a dot of the other color, which represents the idea that they are not truly separate but connected, each containing the seed of the other, and the idea of that is that the yang will go out as far as it can, but when it reaches its maximum extension, it will become yin and return back. So that these are not really separate powers, but aspects of a cycle. And the totality of that cycle is expressed as Wu-Ji, the boundless, the infinite. And this is a very ancient idea in Chinese thought in particular, but it also is an ancient idea in Western thought, and we'll come back to that. But first I have a few more things to say about the Taijitu. The symbol itself is about 3,000 years old. The concept, I believe, would be older. And there are a number of variations on this symbol. It's not just a Taijitu if it looks exactly like this, it can look like other things as well. Some years ago I had someone try to tell me that only when the two pieces were in horizontal alignment was it a real Taijitu, and that if you saw it vertical like this, it was being produced exclusively for a Western pop audience. This is completely untrue. Both the horizontal and the vertical alignment are perfectly traditional and have been used for thousands of years. If you were to see one that does not have the two little dots, that doesn't mean it's a different symbol or a different interpretation. They're not always put there. If you were to see them in colors other than black and white, that's also very traditional. Yellow and white is one that you will sometimes see. Blue and red is one you will often see. And really any two colors that represent these complementary but opposing forces can be used. It is not a hard and fast rule of color. There are many different variations. It is also important to mention that although this symbol in the form of Taijitu is definitely an Asian symbol, the same symbol also appears in pre-Christian Europe, notably among the Etruscans, but also other much older people as well. And for better or worse, the places where it commonly appears did not leave written records of what it meant to them, so whether it had the same meaning we don't know, and the extent to which there was communication is also speculative. But we do know that many of these ancient peoples had much wider communication than was formerly thought, and so it could simply have been imported from Asia or mutually developed or who knows what. But it is present in ancient European artwork, and the concept of yin and yang is elaborated in ancient writings in parts of Europe, particularly around the Mediterranean. In Greek thought, it's often called apeiron and peiron, or the formless and the formed, or protos and epistrophe, the going out and the coming in. And these were important aspects of ancient Greek philosophy, which you often don't hear about, but are definitely there. So this is a very widespread symbol and a very widespread concept, very ancient, and very current at the same time. The yin-yang or Taijitu symbol is very widely used in Western culture, certainly very widely used in Asian culture still, and I think that there's no part of the world where you could not find it today, as well as the philosophy that goes with it. And I think that's a wonderful thing because I'm a great believer in finding our commonalities. But that basically is what I would have to say about the Taijitu. I hope you find it helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be. Please join me for our Corellian peace prayer. I pray for peace. I pray for love. I pray for stability. I pray for the nation where I live. I pray for the world.